Mr. Marvin and Sharlaine, what a privilege this is today. And I had the opportunity to be hired by Pastor Marvin. And so we've kind of known each other most of our adult lives, but really have been privileged to spend the last 27 working in together in ministry. So I'm going to come a little closer.
Come on in.
Yeah. So let's tell us a little bit about how you two met and when you got married and some of those wonderful things.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I married my pastor. And we had known each other for about 3 years before we started dating, but we didn't let anyone know. In fact, when Marvin got up in the pulpit and said, over the last 5 years, I've announced many engagements. Today, I'd like to introduce mine. Everybody looked, who? And then he goes, oh, the good-looking one in the choir. And then everyone's going, oh, there's a lot of good-looking ones, right? It was me.
It was me. That's
and
nice.
then we got married in Winnipeg, and very shortly after we got married, we moved to Calgary, and that's kind of our journey. Yeah,
wonderful. And you have a family, you have grandchildren. Tell us a little bit about the people we love to talk about in our lives.
I'll try to get it right this time. The previous service, I just went right to the grandkids. Wow. So we have Amanda, Amy, and Abby. We had 3 children in 3 years. And we have 5 grandchildren. We have Bro, who is 7, and Jet, who is 4, Axel, 3, and Josie, 2, and 1 Marlo.
Oh, good job.
And we love them dearly. My mom had told me being a grandmother is better than being a mom, and she's right. The only thing, I have to bring them back healthy and not hurt, right? I said, you can't get hurt at grandma's.
Yeah,
it's a big rule.
Very true. We remember when we moved to Saskatoon, just having the opportunity to spend time as families together, and our kids and we never left each other's homes without having a skit put on by the Wojda and the Eagle children, and so that was pretty nice. You homeschooled your children for a number of years. How was that experience?
It was such a joy and a real gift. It would have been an hour for them to go to school by traveling and an hour back, and I thought, I can homeschool in that time. And a very wonderful experience. So one of the experiences was when I was teaching Amanda. She was learning her small letters, and she writes her P, and then she writes her Q, and then her face literally lit up, and she looked at me and she said, Mommy, they're looking at each other. I'm going to give them eyes. And it was just priceless moments that I got to share and I got to remember. Just a real gift.
Oh, that's awesome. Marvin, many of us know that you're a motorcycle guy. We've seen the Harley shirts sometimes up here on the platform. Tell us about that, and especially about the annual guys trip that you take with other like-minded pastoral friends.
Sure. So ever since I was a kid, I have loved anything on 2 wheels. Anybody out there like that? Yeah. Thanks, Trevor. I heard you. My good friend, Pastor Fred Fulford, who we do some of these trips with, and he said this, and this really kind of stuck. He said, 4 wheels moves the body, 2 wheels moves the soul. And if you know, you know, right? If you know, you know. It's, you're on the hog, and it's just peaceful. Nobody can reach you. Nobody can phone you. You experience travel in a more sensory way. And then I've been able to get away with some longtime friends. We've been doing this actually since 2007. Some of those friends are in the house this morning. We've been able to travel, be on our bikes together. Lots of de-stressing, lots of laughter, and Shar tells me that I'm much happier when I get back from a bike trip.
And if you've seen some of his Instagram and Facebook posts while he's on the trips, he doesn't look like he does today. He looks more like he looks like at the big party. Yes. If you've seen him at the big party, his full biker gear, and it's pretty. You look so relaxed and like you have a time of your life. And you and Shar both enjoy travel.
Yeah.
and that's taken you all over the world. How did travel become such an important love for both of you?
Oh, since I was in my childhood, I think my first trip away from my parents, I was 5 years old and got on a train with my grandmother, and we went to northern Alberta. And then my first overseas trip, I was 15, and just the discovery of people and cultures and the beauty of the world, all of those to me are so compelling, so satisfying. And I've had the joy, the privilege of visiting, I don't know the exact number, but it's between 50 and 60 countries. And then a few, probably in the last, after the kids were more grown, we began to be able to travel together as well. And so that's taken us to all kinds of places, and particularly the joy of traveling with groups of people, and some in this room have been with us. Maybe, do you want to just share about that? Because that's been part of your journey and your joy.
It is so great to travel with friends. We did the Footsteps of Paul, which probably was the most people we've taken at a time. There was 48 of us, and we were in Florence, Italy. We actually had a day, we were in Rome and had a free day, and I said, okay, who'd like to go to Florence? We get on that bullet train and we'll just head to Florence for the day. And so we're in Florence at the church, and it's called La Croce, which means the church. And there is all these crepes, and it's Michelangelo's, Leonardo da Vinci, Galileo, and one of the ladies in our group is standing there, and the tears are flowing. And I'm going, are you okay? And she said, I never thought I would get to Europe. And her husband was in remission from cancer and was able to come. And I had tears, and that's why we do this. That's why we take groups for that experience. And it is such a blessing to see the excitement on our friends' faces.
Beautiful, yeah. Over the years, Sharlaine, you've been involved in various ministries here at the church. We remember, again, when we first came here, you were busy doing a children's choir. We had Sunday night church back in those days, every Sunday night. And I remember you doing the children's choir in many presentations. What has your ministry involvement been like at Elim? What has given you passion and joy, and how have you served us?
I always felt I wanted to be obedient to what God wanted me to do. And if that wasn't from cooking for single moms or seniors, or there was the need for a children's ministry. There wasn't a children's ministry. Started that. We did the evening program for children. We did Vacation Bible School, started that. We did the choir, the Christmas choir, which the kids so looked forward to. And women's ministry, we did conferences. And I just really wanted to be obedient. And even to the point that when God told me that it was my time to step down from women's ministry and told me specifically to ask Shar Queering. And I look back, and that just brings tears and joy to my eyes, because I see where women's ministry is today in our church, and it is so exciting. And I'm so blessed to know Shar and what she has done, and Caitlin's done and is doing today, and that we even have a women's pastor. Like, that is just astounding. And I'm thankful to God. And I hope I will always be obedient to what He wants and not what I want.
Well said. Thank you so much. This question is for both of you. We'd like you to share one or two highlight moments that have occurred in the past 30 years. So that's one per 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay? It could be ministry related or personal, but not both. No, it could be both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so there's of course the big highlight moments. Our first service in this sanctuary on July the 1st, 2012. That was a real highlight, and of course all the things leading up to that. And then our first time back after the flood in September of this past year. But then this may surprise you, when I think about highlights, it's not moments so much, but board meetings where there's been such a sense of partnership through the highs and lows, and then as well working with so many great people. Blaine, 27 years. I mean, that's almost unheard of in church ministry, that we'd be able to work together that long and that harmoniously. The amazing people that God has brought us on staff, the amazing people that God has allowed us to work with in our church family, to really see the work move forward. All of that is just so rich and so satisfying to me.
What about you, Shar?
Well, there's so many. But one moment that really changed my life was, and I don't know why, but God tends to talk to me when I wash floors, because I really hate washing floors. And God told me one Friday morning that I needed to go to the hospital. And I did not have time at all. I had a whole list of things that had to be done and accomplished that day. And God kept at me. And long stories, I went that day and to visit a friend from our church, and he had been put in the basement of the ER. The ER was totally full, and he was in a room all by himself, and they didn't have monitors on him. I have no idea why, but he went into hypovolemic shock, and he would have died if I didn't have the loud voice I had, and that I had been there that day. And I just always want to be obedient. If God would have told me, Shar, go to the hospital and you'll save somebody's life, of course we'd go. But sometimes it's those little nudges that God says, go to the hospital, is I will always go, because you never know what the outcome will be by that one act of obedience.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing, folks. Isn't it good to get to know them just as people and the stories of their lives? So thank you so much.